what about the boys, Jonathan? A few months ago, that Netflix series Adolescence bring us everyone thinking about how boys are getting more violent and all this incel and red pill environment. What have you been thinking and studying about that?
Yes. When I started writing the book about 3 years ago, I thought it was going to be a book about girls on social media becoming depressed and anxious, because that's where the data was best. And I didn't know what the story was for boys 3 years ago, but now I do. It turns out it's no one thing. For the boys, the thing to focus on is dopamine and addiction. That is, dopamine is the neurotransmitter that is part of our motivation, learning, and reward centers. So take a video game. Video games are made so that a boy can pursue a goal. He gets it. He's reinforced. He takes an action. He's reinforced. And the dopamine circuits adapt to this chronic stimulation by becoming a lower level. They need a more stimulation in order to get the boy just back to normal. So boys who are spending a lot of time on video games and pornography, and later on gambling, boys are also vaping or consuming nicotine products. All of this is hitting their dopamine circuits in such a way that when they're not on a screen, everything is boring. Boys have a lot of difficulty doing things that are not on screens because it's boring compared to the screen. And this is part of the reason why they're doing so badly in school. I don't know the data from Brazil, but everywhere else we've looked, boys are declining relative to girls in their academic performance. And so we pay so much attention to girls, their problems are very visible, and we didn't used to pay so much attention to them. But now I think we've forgotten the boys in a lot of ways, because again, at 14, they don't seem so bad. They're playing video games and pornography. They're happy about that. They're lonely. The more time you spend on video games, it pushes out real world friendships. So they are lonely. But when we follow them out into being young adults, I think what we find is that the girls are more likely to have finished high school, finished university, gotten a job, and moved out of their parents' house. The boys are less likely to do all those things. They're much more likely at the age of 28 or 30 to still be living at home, playing video games and watching pornography. So I think we're decimating the boys, but the data on it hasn't been as good because we have very good data on mental health. We didn't see that the boys are dropping out of life. The show Adolescence was so powerful, especially for me, the line where the father says, he was up in his room on his computer. We thought he was safe.
Yeah, Jonathan, I'm sorry.
We have been...
I'm going to interrupt you right there because of the room. You know, there's the say that we are losing our kids for the room. How can we open this door and take the boy out?
Well, first, so here are a couple of suggestions for families, especially if your kids are still young. The rule that I most wish I had done in my family was to say, no screens in the bedroom ever. When I was a child, the rule was you don't let a child have a television set in their bedroom. They'd be watching it all the time. But now we let kids have something 10 times more powerful than a television set, which is a phone or an iPad or even a laptop. And so I wish I had said the rule, and I urge everyone to do this, no screens in the bedroom ever. We have a desktop computer here in the living room or in the kitchen. You need the internet sometimes. Okay, you can use it there. But you can't be alone with strangers because every social media platform, even Roblox, even those for children, they all allow you to talk with strangers. And some of those strangers are men who want sex or money from your child or who want to influence them politically. So no screens in the bedroom ever. And then maybe, when the child is 14, you'll have to make an exception and say, okay, you can take a laptop into your bedroom to do homework, but then it comes out. So no matter what age your kids are, even if you can't do what I just said, all of us can say no screens in the bedroom after 10 p.m. Like you have to get it out in order to go to sleep. The worst stuff, a lot of the sextortion tends to happen late at night when a kid is alone in their bedroom with a computer or a phone.